Hey guys, I'm Jason from Tom Precision Services, and here behind me today we have a John Deere 1795 32-row 15-inch beam planter. It is a 2022 model year. This planter is from Geneva, Indiana, and one of our techs recently just installed the Martin weight transfer system, and let me tell you why this was needed. So here we have the central commodity system up here, so we're going to have a lot of weight, and that weight gets just distributed to the row units and to the center transport tires. And those center transport tires can cause a lot of compaction. So if you're on 30-inch rows, if you're on a corn planter, you can get some hatchet roots out of that if you're in some wet or soft scenarios. On this planter, we are going to have issues with the rows that are trailing behind the center tires getting in the ground, because he only has an airbag system, or if you have a spring system, they're going to struggle a little bit more. So by pushing some of that weight out to the wings, it's going to alleviate a little bit of weight on those center tires. The second reason is we're going to try to level this frame out as best as we can. So you can see here, with our concrete, we have a little bit of dip in the concrete for this drain. So you can see here that the center frame is lower, and then this wing kind of works its way up as we come across here. And if you're seeing a condition like that where your wings are riding up out in the field, one of two things. Well, you don't have enough weight on your planter frame. You know, if you don't have markers, you're probably going to really struggle in a no-till scenario. And so you can add weights out there. That definitely makes a big difference. But for him, he's got a dial on the cab. He can turn it on, and he can adjust how much pressure he wants out on those wings to get that frame leveled. And you can push up to about 1,200 pounds of actual weight out on your wing tips. And what that also is going to benefit him is his parallel arms are going to run more true, and he's going to get consistent germination and seeding depth. So next, let me tell you on a few tips of what we did to install this system easier. Martin gives some pretty good instructions on how to install the Martin weight transfer system. So this is not a step-by-step process, but we're going to give some tips to make it a little bit easier as you're going through it. So the first thing that we do is these CCS hoses are kind of right in this area where this cylinder is going to mount. So what we do is we bring 2, maybe 3 of the hoses out of this bracket and hold it down and forward, run them through here. Then we move all the hoses that we can backwards into the far holes and fill all those up. So we actually have 4 empty holes here right now. And by doing that, that just kind of helps make sure that nothing's rubbing through here and you're not pinching any hoses. Next, real quick, I wanted to show you something real simple. We like hose wrap in our shop. It just protects hoses, and no one wants to change those in season. There's not going to be a lot of wear through here since this isn't moving a lot, but we do want to protect it. So we did take some hose wrap and wrap that through here and the hoses that ran down to the center frame. Now I'd like to talk about how we tied the Martin weight transfer into the Deere hydraulic system. Here on this planter, we tied into the CCS blower. Here we have the control valve mounted. Port 1 is going to be your return. Port 2 is going to be your pressure or your supply. And port 3 is going to be your gauge and cylinder pressure. On the flow control valve here, before the CCS fan, we teed into the inlet side of that to steal oil. Then the cooler behind the CCS fan, we teed into that on the outlet side, going back to the tractor for our return. Then the gauge or cylinder pressure, we ran one hose out, teed it, and ran to the pressure gauge up by the hitch into the cylinders themselves. There are many different ways to do this as described in the instructions. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact us, your local dealer, or Martin themselves. This next part is not a mandatory thing to do for the system, but is something that we like to do if needed. And so what we do here is this is the bell housing on the wing itself. We're on the back side right now. And then there's a 90-degree fitting that comes out of it where the flex tubing hooks up to. So we like to take that 90-degree fitting and shorten it down and bring that flex hose closer to the back of the frame, because we're now pushing those CS lines in front of it down a little bit farther. So this helps alleviate a little bit of that pressure. On the other side of this, there's 2 clamps holding this plastic bell housing here. We do remove one of those clamps so that it fits in a little bit better. Another tip of caution is when you move CCS hoses around, if you pull them forward or whatever you may do, when you do that, when you fold your planter, make sure that you slowly fold it and watch your CCS hoses so you don't pinch them or pull them and cause them to kink. This tractor is a 7R series tractor, so we're going to use the John Deere power strip down by the right hand foot. And we tied this into key power, and we just used a John Deere power strip, cut the harness, crimped it on, and that's how we're going to get power here. So let me plug that in real quick, and then we'll go to the monitor operation. All right, now that we get that plugged in, this is a control box that Martin gives you. They don't come with a mounting bracket, so we custom make them here. If you ever do need one, feel free to give us a comment or let us know. We can send you one. But to operate this, it's relatively simple. There's an on-off switch, and there's a dial. Now, the one tip I want to give you is when you fold your planter up, you're tied into the CCS system, you do want to turn this off when you're folding so it folds a little bit better. But this dial, you can spin it here, 0 to 10. And the two things you look at when you adjust this planter. So we're going to take a peek here at the pressure gauge. So you can see here, as I'm spinning this dial, this pressure gauge is adjusting up and down. Relatively simple. So I have it on a 7 right now. And so you can definitely put way more pressure than you need as I let up here. And so the two things is look at your pressure gauge, and then we're going to look at how level the frame is as you're going through the field. And to look at that, a couple ways is visual from the cab. You can just see how consistent that is, or go out and look at the parallel arms and see how level they are on the center of the frame and on the wings. Here, I just want to give you a quick visual of that cylinder moving on the frame. So I'm turning it up from 0 up to 10 there, and I'm just going to turn the switch off, and you're going to see the cylinder release. And so that's a full 1,200 pounds of weight out in your tips, and it's really shaking this planter here. All right, guys, lastly, what we have to do here is once you have your weight transfer system set, you have your frame leveled as best as you can get it, what I'm going to encourage is to have someone come out here as you're planting through the field and to watch your parallel arms. So I'm watching the back rows and the front rows, and I want them to be the same is my goal. And to do so, we have to adjust the 3-point hitch up and down to get there. So if your front parallel arms, which typically are going to have more weight on them than the back, are running level, and your rear parallel arms, your rear rank is maybe nosed up like this right now, what I would do is I would raise that 3-point up. And by raising that up, that's actually going to take this W bracket here, and it's going to tilt it down and put more pressure on this row. And so if you're struggling with depth with your rear rows on any planter with or without weight transfer, raise your hitch up, and that will help out a lot. Well, that's all we have for today, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have any other tips or video content that you'd like us to create, leave a comment below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.